Hey, what's up everybody? Kakarot just came out not too long ago, and I'm sure a lot of people have questions or want to know how to optimize their community board. This is a system that shouldn't be ignored since it gives huge bonuses, but it's definitely not needed to beat the game. The bad thing about communities is that you can't really max them all out until post-game, and even then, once you get all the emblems, you probably won't need them anymore since you'll be done with the game. So then, the goal is to pretty much focus on whatever community you need the benefits for. Personally, I stuck to Z and God and tried to fill in training and cooking when necessary. For the purposes of this video though, I'm going to show you what the end game board might look like. This is my build from just playing through the game without grinding. That said, this isn't the only character combinations you can use, although I would assume that some boards would look identical outside of a few characters. I did max out all my friendship levels to get all the secret of success gifts that are extremely important. Hopefully you didn't waste the ones you have on the wrong character. On the bright side, you can farm them, but that's not fun. For my playthrough, I just played normally without grinding anything. Though I did explore a lot, which netted me a lot of these gifts to use, which made it easier to max out all my communities and their stats. I also had a lot to spare at the end. So with the introduction out of the way, let's get started. The idea was to put all characters with 25 proficiencies in their respective communities, while also considering their links and any other 25 proficiencies they may have. I'll start with training first, since that requires 575 points to max, and requires the most characters. The core characters I used here were the Ginyu Force and the Frieza Force. I had Bonyu the pre-order DLC, so she will be included in this and provides plus 20 when linked with Ginyu. Ginyu and Bonyu's highest stats were training with 25 points, and the rest of the Ginyu Force had decent training stats, which also happened to be their highest stat. Similarly, Zarbon and Dodoria only had a single high proficiency in training, and they linked with Huey and Appule who had decent training stats. I added King Cold and Radditz to be linked up with Dodoria since their training stats were also pretty high. Zarbon also linked with 𝙏𝙧𝙖𝙞𝙬 and Yakon who had 25 proficiency in training, so they were put in. Then I just added Bubbles and the 2 Majin humans for the same reason. Master Shen was put in to fill the last few points I needed, and wasn't required in any of the other communities, though he could be useful in Adult. Using a total of 29 secrets of success for training, I reached the 575 points needed. Next up, let's move to Gods, which requires 350 points to max. I used all of the Namekians and Gods in this, which I guess isn't surprising. Piccolo has 2 strong links to take advantage of, one and the same and Namekian. Getting these 2 links will add 24 points, which is almost like another character, and the required characters for this link have pretty high proficiency in God anyway. The other deities easily link with each other and are at 25 God proficiency each, making this really easy to max out. Only Nail and Guru had under 25, but it's still pretty good. I used 10 secrets of success for God to reach the max points needed. Moving right along, we have the adult community, which needs 225 points to max. Here I used Baba, who had 25 proficiency, and also linked to Roshi. I followed up by adding World Tournament Announcer, who had 25 adult proficiency, and linked to Baba. Then I added Nam, whose only link was to the announcer. Nam's stats are pretty low, but his highest stat was for adult or training, so I maximized what I could do with him by putting him in the adult community. The only other people that made sense for me to put in here were Turtle and Launch because of their links with Roshi and high adult proficiency. All I needed after that were 2 characters who didn't excel at anything, which were Bora and Upa. Since they linked and their stats were in the mid-range, it gave me the points I needed to max out after using 19 Secret of Success for adults. Now let's look at the development community, which requires 300 points to max. Following the same principles, I just stuck everyone that had high development stats here while optimizing their links. The obvious choices are Pilaf, Shu, and Mai, who link to each other, with Pilaf also linking to the leader Bulma. Then I added Android 8, 16, and 17, who linked with each other, providing another 84 points. I added Dr. Briefs, Frieza, and Babidi for similar reasons. Using 10 secrets of success for development, I was able to max out this community as well. Now, I'm running out of good people to use with nice links. The next community I looked at was Cooking, which requires 375 points to max. I used Satan, Videl, Boo, and the Puppy. Satan's links are very strong, so the characters required was a must-use for this, since I'm pretty much just trying to use who I could. Also, Satan has terrible stats, with only Cooking and Adult being his only good stats, so I had nowhere else to put him. With the 2 links combined, I got an extra 52 points, which is amazing for a link with 4 characters. The only characters I had left with high cooking stats were Vegeta, Chiaotzu, and Android 18. 18 linked with Chi-Chi, so that was good. I added in Saibaman and Cell despite their low stats to get the extra 16 points from their link since I was running out of options. I added in Cell Jr. to link with Cell and Ox King to link with Chi-Chi. Added in Tao and Nappa who didn't have anyone else to link with, and used 13 secrets for success for cooking to max this community out. The last decent link I haven't used is Senbei, Arali, and Goten, which adds another 60 points to whatever community they're in. With not many options left for the adventure community, which requires 300 points to max, that's where I put them. I added in whoever else was proficient in adventure, which was Puar and Oolong who could be linked, and Suno and Marin. With nowhere else to put Android 19 and 20 who also link together, I put them in adventure. I used 17 secrets for success for adventure to max out adult. Lastly, we have the Z Warrior community, which requires 275 points to max. Luckily, it isn't that much compared to the rest of the communities. Using the leftover Z fighters who all had 25 proficiency in this community and linked pretty well with each other, I was able to make it work with an added 8 secrets of success for Z Warriors. I also had Dabura and King Yama left over who also linked with each other and gave a decent boost to the community. For links, I tried to maximize where I could by including the longest links possible, which were Yamcha, Krillin, and Goku. There were also a bunch of small +4 links scattered about which added up to make it work. And that's my max build for communities. If you're still early in the game or haven't used any of the Secret of Success gifts, then you can copy my board and max out whatever communities you can without having to wait till endgame like I did. If your build doesn't match my build, that doesn't mean you won't be able to max out your communities. You'll just have to farm Secret of Success gifts from the over level 100 supervillains, or figure out another build. Anyway, that's all I got for now. I hope this has helped you and given you some ideas on how to maximize your own communities.